Wow. Hey, folks. Kurt Von Onen here. Magic Emily Middleton with us. We are here for another Lifter LMS Ask Me Anything call. This is where we come together and say, hey, if you're thinking about using Lifter LMS, if you already use Lifter LMS, this is the space. Jump in, ask us some questions, jump into the comments, and just communicate. Let us know what it is you need through screen share or through conversation. We'll see if we can't figure out a good pathway for success. Now, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you're going to see that there's a coupon code. That coupon code gives you 55% off. If you go to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift, that will get you 55% off on a purchase with Lifter LMS. And with that, I want to welcome Emily to the call.
Hey, Kurt, how you doing?
I'm good. I was fine to leave the camera off. I was like, oh boy. That's like March roars in like a lion. Emily roars in like a lion. So there we go. I got to tell you, my week is going quick. I can't believe it's Thursday already. I mean, I traveled to Vegas last week. I gave the talks for 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Got back into town. And it just seems like it's like boom, boom, boom. And here we are, Thursday already, and we're doing the lives. I'll even get some music going for us here. Look at that. Oh, yeah. You're listening to Smooth Jazz with Night Driving. All right. Boom. Delphine says, good morning, -21 in Canada. I was at 0 degrees this morning here in Kansas when I woke up. What do you got going on in Seattle?
I think it's like 30, 20. It's in that range.
Oh no, that's rough. That is rough. I put in a new diesel heater just in time, so now I get up at 5 in the morning and I plug in my truck so that at 8 o'clock in the morning it'll start and I can drive my wife to work. Here comes your next question. That's when you say, well, why do you have to drive your wife to work? Doesn't she have a car?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you have a lot of vehicles?
Yeah, go ahead. Throw it out there.
Why do you have to drive your wife to work? Does she have a car?
She does have a car, but she ran over the neighbor's mailbox and we had to send it to the body shop. That neighbor's mailbox is going to cost me $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, baby, how fast were you going when you hit that mailbox? Oh, I was probably going 30. No, you weren't.
Oh my gosh.
The car is destroyed, man. So the car's only worth between $4,000 and $5,000, right? And now we're gonna put $5,000 into fixing it because she ran into a mailbox. And I'm like, she goes, I want to fix my car. I'm like, we could sell the car in its current condition for like $2,500. Take that $5,000 and the $2,500. I'll go buy you an Audi. You want an Audi? You can have an Audi. You can have whatever you want. What do you want? You want to use Cadillac? At this point, I don't care. What do you want? You want an SUV? I'll go get you an SUV. I want to fix my car. Dude, we should not be fixing this car. We should not be fixing this car. But what did we do? We dropped it off at the body shop last night. They're going to fix it this week. Friends of mine, they treated her right. They're not ripping her off. It's just a new car, with proximity sensors and all that kind of nonsense. When you damage them, it's expensive.
Yeah.
So, and you just got your license a few years ago. So all these great adventures await you in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. I've got a Kip visiting me this morning. Trying to get food. This is Kip.
That's Kip. Okay.
This is Kip, and I might have to feed Kip in a minute because Kip is biting me.
That's the same cat, right? It's not a different cat.
No, it's the same cat.
It's the same cat. Okay. It's a big cat.
He weighs like 17 pounds. He's big.
That's a big cat. Did I ever tell you how I almost got 2 fingers amputated because of a cat bite?
No, but that sounds like something he would do.
Yeah, I have a scar on my wrist right here.
Oh my gosh.
It was a stray cat. I used to work in the automotive industry, and alarm used to go off in the building like every night at 2 or 3 in the morning. And the owner was like, I think it's a cat. And I'm like, what? He goes, you find that cat, you get that cat out of our building. And so one day I saw the cat coming down out of one of the roof tiles in the office. And so I grabbed it and it spun around and sunk its teeth into my wrist.
Oof.
And then I did what any red blood American does. I smacked the crap out of that cat and I threw it in a box. And I had animal control come and pick it up. Well, it was kind of sore, and the lady in charge of HR, she said, you should probably go to the hospital and get it checked out. I said, okay, whatever. So I go to the hospital, and as soon as I said I was bit by a cat, the whole ER like froze, dude. Like done. Like, you get a cat bite, the emergency room stops working. Everyone's like, oh my God, I got a cat bite. And I was like, what's going on? This is weird. This is just a stray cat bit me. It's not a big deal. Oh no, it's a big deal. So they clean it, and then they tell me, if you look at this in the next day or so and you see any kind of like dark lines or black lines or anything running up your arm, you got to come back and see us right away. I said, okay, no big deal. And I woke up the next morning and I had 2 solid black lines running straight up into my armpit. And I said, well, that's weird. So I called into work and I went to the hospital, and they operated on me in the emergency room in the hallway immediately. They slit it open. My hand's jumping around on the table. They're cleaning things out, hitting all the tendons. Everything's bouncing around. And then it was like a month of, I think they call it a sit bath or something. It was like a hot whirlpool thing. Every day they would pull the packing out of it, and I'd have to shove my hand in this boiling hot whirlpool bath thing. It burned like crazy, and it took forever to heal. But I spent 4 days in the hospital over that. Had to have a prick line. They had to put the IV in, where you give yourself your own IV. It was gross. It was absolutely disgusting. All because of it. Turns out cats are the filthiest animals on the planet.
Yes.
But a clean, healthy domestic one, I'm sure, is very cuddly.
No, this one's aggressive. But
my daughter got 2 cats. She's all into it. She wanted to move back in with 2 cats. I was like, really? You got 2 cats and now you want to move back in? So Stuart's checking in. Stuart doesn't care about my cat bite situation. Stuart says, hey, Kurt and Emily, I'm in the process of building a dedicated site for my LifterLMS courses. I've seen Chris recommend both the free and paid versions of the Cadence theme, as well as SkyPilot. Which of these would you recommend and why? Or maybe something else? Stuart, do you have a coin in your pocket? Flip that coin. I hate to be so nonchalant about themes, and I'm not really. I've got like a handful of themes that I trust. I've got a handful of themes as an agency owner where I know if I use these themes, I'm going to build a good product for my client. When my clients come to me and say, hey, I found this thing on ThemeForest or on Envato, and it includes this, that, and a calendar and this function and that function, and I want to use this theme, I turn the job down every single time, right? But if I'm trying to decide between SkyPilot, Cadence, Bricks, or Astra, I got to tell you, it's almost a coin toss for me. If it's purpose built and I want to use the full site editor, then SkyPilot's going to win, right? If it's a LifterLMS website and I'm open to using the full site editor, SkyPilot wins every time, hands down for me. I've got SkyPilot activated on my Powersport Academy website, and I enjoy it. It's simple, it's easy, it's direct, it looks good, it works with Lifter really, really well, and I enjoy it. But if I'm not into the full site editing experience, which a lot of my customers are not, then I'm going to probably recommend either Cadence or Astra. And there are free versions of each, which are completely compatible with Lifter and work really well. But there are also pro versions of each of those themes. And those pro versions give you a lot more design freedom and options for design. Do you have anything to add to that, Emily?
I am recently leaning away from the Cadence theme. I don't know if they've fixed this problem yet, but they have a weird issue where I can't even share my screen window. Let me show this screen. This one. So can you see my Firefox or my
I see the
Safari
Firefox.
here? Yeah, so this
My courses.
is my courses. And so it's all jammed up in here. If I edit my account, it's all jammed up. And this is a issue that we submitted to Cadence and said like, hey, can you fix this? And we gave them the code and everything, and it just hasn't been fixed yet. So, I mean, that shakes my confidence a little bit with that theme. And I know a few other people have been having this problem. So if you're starting today, maybe you'd want to start with a SkyPilot is kind of my recommendation. I'm going to migrate this website over to SkyPilot.
Yeah, it's just when you migrate to SkyPilot, you do have to have that foreknowledge that you'll be in the full site editing environment, and it's a little bit, the flow's a little different. It's what's really cool though is like in full site editing, you want to make another template page, you make another template page. You want to make another template, you want to make another pattern, which you could do in any Gutenberg environment, just make a pattern. But it's all menu driven, which is a little bit different than what we experience, in a different type of Gutenberg environment. You just have to be open to it. That's all. It works really well. If you're open to it, it's fantastic. And you can build something really nice there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I don't think we talk about Astra enough. I don't know what happened, because when I'm going back like 10 years, but Astra was like super popular in the LifterLMS circles years ago, and then Cadence picked up steam, and our demo sites were built on Cadence for a long time. So I think that had a lot to do with how Cadence kind of ran forward in our little circles. But Astra has add-ons that go with it, like Spectra, or if you're an Elementor person, it would be Elementor Essentials, things like that go with the Cadence, not with Cadence, with Astra Pro. And Astra Pro with Spectra Pro, with all these, like their whole suite, just like Cadence has a whole suite, is really, really good. And Astra, kind of jump into Adam Priestler's, however you say his last name, jump into Adam's back pocket. There's like a zip WP function, which adds AI template building ability to whatever you put in it, which is really kind of nice. I don't know if you've played with some of these AI template builders lately, Emily, but they're getting better and better. Like I used one to make a website for a race team recently. It matches their budget. I'm not saying AI is my go-to for every project. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it matched their budget. I was like, we can give you a really simple hosting program. We can build you a really simple templated site using AI, and then you can, change out images and text as you see fit. And they were like, that sounds great. And it matched their budget. And so we went into this AI tool called ZipWP, and we said, here's the name of the site. Here's a paragraph about what this organization does. And then it uses your input and populates the whole website with content that's pretty much on message. And so it was a pretty cool way to go. Stuart asked a follow-up question that we can jump on before we jump into Breezy CPA. Stuart said, I know WordPress, but what do you mean by full site editing? Do you want to jump into like maybe a quick screen share of just, because we could talk theory about full site editing all day, but I think we would just confuse people.
Yeah, I'm happy to do a screen share. Let me go back to Firefox and figure out. Firefox is this weird method now of sharing screen where I allow my full screen, I select a window, and then it gives me these purple boxes to like select which window I want to share. But I think I'm figuring it out. So when we say full site editing, what we're referring to is a new style of editing a WordPress website that's available in the core WordPress themes like 2024, 2025. And not many major themes have integrated it yet, but it's very new technology. Skypilot's one of the themes to have integrated it. And how it works is instead of a customizer, which is what we might be familiar with, when we look at a theme like Astra or Cadence, we look at the customizer. I'll show you what that looks like. This is a little bit of the older way of doing things. When we click customize, and then we see a panel that looks like this with a white sidebar on the left side where we can edit our global settings, our blog pages, our page layouts, things like that. But how full site editing works is that it does not use the customizer. It uses a new technology that's built into WordPress out of the box. So if I activate Skypilot, instead of the customizer, we have the editor. And the editor looks like this. So it's similar. We have a black sidebar on the left side. And instead of all of the styles for global typography and all of those things, we have options for editing our navigation, editing our styles. This would be our typography, colors, background. You see all that stuff over here on the right-hand side. And so that's how we would edit the typography and stuff like that. How we would edit the page templates, or at least the pages that we have, is through this pages menu. Now you can still access the pages menu in the back end of WordPress, where you go out of full site editing over here to pages, but I would imagine that they're trying to put more of that functionality into the editor in the future. It just kind of makes all WordPress themes operate on a similar guideline, and this is something 10 years down the line that basically every theme will be doing, that really only a few of them are doing yet. So you can use templates to edit what all of your lessons look like. You can edit your footers and your headers. It's all done in the block editor. So that's full site editing, where blocks are everywhere on your website: the header, the footer, the templates, etc.
Yeah, and I really like the simplicity of template management with full site editing, if that's something you really want to entertain. Prior to that, people would have leveraged like Elementor or, you know, Divi to make templates. But yeah, I really like having, I can make a lesson template, I can make a course page template, I can make a catalog page template, I can, you know, I can make, so I could say, okay, on this template, I want to use this style header. On this template, I want to use that style header. And there's just different ways to really run forward with that. So full site editing, like I said, if you want to make the commitment to using it, Skypilot is a fantabulous way to go. If full site editing is a bridge too far for you, if full site editing is like, man, I really don't know if I want to do that yet, I think I want to stick with what's familiar, then, you know, maybe Cadence or Astra would be the move for you. So I think that's a really good way to go. What does okay, Breezy CPA has a question for us. I think it's more of a question for you, Emily, but that's okay. I can see you're busy. You're making something wonderfully delicious for a kitty cat, I assume.
I am.
So Breezy CPA says, hey, Emily, quick question. Are you available for private consultations? I need some more in-depth help with my LifterLMS site, and I could use your expertise. First thing I would say, Breezy, is that is a really good decision. I say this to a lot of clients, a lot. Like I'll say, hey, you want to focus on your strength. Especially in business setups, right? So there's a difference between a solopreneur or a hobbyist or a course creator that wants to make a course and put it out. Like that's totally great. That's what a lot of these calls help people get forward with and put people in the right mind space. But there are a lot of people that are running an organization. For instance, I used to be the training and publications manager at Suzuki Motor of America. Suzuki Motor of America didn't necessarily, you know, the vice presidents there didn't care about how WordPress worked or how to make LifterLMS work for them. They just wanted to hire somebody that would make the site or coach them on how to speed up the process. And so it is a great idea to reach out to a professional. If you go to lifterlms.com/experts, lifterlms.com/experts, experts. There would be a list of experts there. I'll put that ticker in the bottom for us right now. There's a vetted list of experts there. I'm on that page. Emily is also on that page. You can reach out to us directly through that link, lifterlms.com/experts. But you've got me and Emily on the call. And let's just be honest, the other people that are on the experts page, they're not on this call. So Emily, this is your opportunity. What if someone wanted to reach you just directly and not go to the experts page, where would you send them?
Yeah, I would send them to this page here, wpcourseguide.com. That's the website I have. I put it in the comments, and I have a contact link on that website if you want to get in touch. I actually still have it up. It describes the I have the dark mode thing on. Let me turn that off.
Into the dark side.
The dark side. I gotta fix it. It does like a green, and I want to change that. But yeah, it just talks about like what kind of work I do, and you can get in touch there.
Nice. And I say this in all sincerity. Reaching out to Emily directly, great decision. We bounce a lot of things off each other in our off time. We've shared clients before. It's always been a success. So if you reach out to Emily directly, you're going to have a great experience. Julianne jumped in and she said, I have the Earth bundle and only use PayPal as a payment option. That's okay. Totally good. Sustainable. I have only one course so far. And then she went on to ask the rest of the question. If I want to do live Zoom workshops, do I need to set up another pay portal? What is WooCommerce? In other words, can I have a sign-in form on my site and have people pay there after I send out an email to offer the course? Julianne, you think you're asking a complicated question, right? Like I think in your mind, you've created like this kind of like stair-step complicated workflow. And I'm here to tell you, it's not a complicated workflow. If you're doing live Zoom workshops, I'm going to encourage you to add a little bit of complication to your website, just because it's possible for you to integrate Zoom directly into your website. And what's cool about doing this in a LifterLMS environment, and don't get me wrong, there's easier ways to do this, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this blog post in here for you. I'm going to put it in the comments, and then we'll put that up on screen for other people that just want to see that it's there. If you went to the LifterLMS website and you just typed in Zoom in search, this would come up for you. But it would, if you go to this blog, liven up your course with live Zoom sessions, we talk about embedding Zoom, right? Adding Zoom to your website, integrating Zoom with your website. You're able to manage your workshops, right? You're able to manage your workshops through your website. And one of the reasons that I like to do this is, you know, when you take a Zoom link and you share it in social media and it comes up with a big blue banner that says Zoom on it. What if you took the link from your website and shared it? And am I still with you, Emily?
Yeah.
Okay, my internet keeps like flashing, like the ice is melting on the line outside, and I think it's interfering with the signal. But my message here was, what if you were to take your Zoom workshop and share that link on social media and it was branded with your brand? So that to me is one of the main reasons that I use the Zoom integration, because from a branding standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, there's a lot of advantages. But now you already know that you can build a course and you can sell that course in LifterLMS and use PayPal, because that's kind of what you put in your question. So now you could say, join our live workshops, and you could create like another membership, or you could create the Zoom integration as part of the lessons that you're giving. But my point here is, whether it's a course or a membership, you sell access with your access plans using your PayPal integration. So you could literally have a membership and says, you need membership to access this page. And in that page, you would have your integrated embedded Zoom workshop. And so you could absolutely sell that Zoom workshop using the access plan in Lifter with the standard access plan and PayPal setup that you currently have. It's totally doable. I may have made it sound complicated, but once you set it up, it works great. The other thing that you could do, you asked about WooCommerce. So I feel like if I don't address WooCommerce, I feel like if I don't bring it up, then I'm probably, I feel like I'm probably leaving you astray or empty. WooCommerce is just a shopping cart. I think of WooCommerce as, okay, I'm old. I used to shop at Sears when I was young. I don't even know if you can still go to Sears or not. Okay. Think of any department store, like any major store, any major anchor store in a mall, anywhere, right? Typically, there's multiple cash registers throughout the store. So I can buy whatever I want from any department. I could buy my wife a new bra. I could buy myself a pair of jeans. I could go down to the tool department and buy a new ratchet. And I could take all three of those things to a cash register in that store and buy all three things. That's what WooCommerce allows you to do inside a website. So WooCommerce allows you to build products that activate your access plans in LifterLMS. So you could have the membership, you could have a course, and you could sell coffee cups, tapestries, and purses through a web store in your website. And a user in your website could choose a coffee mug, a course, and become a member of a membership and put it all on one transaction in WooCommerce. It becomes the cash register for your virtual department store. I don't really think, based on what you've said, that you would need to have a WooCommerce store per se, because what you're selling is all digital content. You're selling access to yourself digitally through Zoom workshops or through courses. And so those are all things that could be done through the native payment gateway in LifterLMS using your PayPal account. Julianne says, I'm old too. I totally get that. Let's see what we have here. She's got some follow-up, right? So she's technologically challenged. Julianne, I would drive you right back like I did with Breezy CPA. If you need help setting this kind of stuff up, jump into the experts page. Sometimes I find you could pay somebody $100, $200, $300, $500, like whatever the scope of your task is, but give yourself so much mental health and rest. Like, this is not my expertise. My expertise is what I teach in my workshop. So if you could spend a small budget, get the results that you want, and then go sell your workshops and your courses for exponentially more than what you just spent, that might be the best pathway for you, right? Just being blunt and saying it the way that it is. The other thing I can say is the blog post I referred to gives you directions on how to integrate Zoom into your website. And then we have other assets in our website that very specifically show you how to put these tools together. So none of the secrets are hidden. I mean, all of the information's there. And I really encourage you, if you want to do the live workshops, I think that's a really great way to go. The other way to go, and Emily is probably going to jump on and say, well, that's easier, Kurt. Why didn't you just say that in the first place? You literally could have a good, better, and best kind of pricing strategy for your access plan for your course. Maybe your course is just the course, and then maybe you have a separate access plan that charges people more, and you say you get access to the course and the live workshop and the live coaching session or whatever, right? And then literally the people that buy the more expensive access plan, you're literally just going to email them, the code to come to the Zoom meeting. It could be as simple as that. Because you're already using Zoom, so you already know how Zoom works. You already know how you're going to get the link to share that Zoom meeting, right? And so it could be as simple as anyone that signs up for this increased course cost with access to the workshop gets, I email you the link to the meeting and you come to the meeting. It could be that easy. I know. I talked about it and it sounds complicated. It sounds complicated. There's a lot of steps. When you set up the Zoom integration, there's a lot of steps. But I will say this, Adil, the one who makes this Zoom integration, he has a guide, an installation guide. And it is very specific and it gives you exact directions, step by step by step. As long as you follow the directions, if you take your time, follow the directions, it works flawlessly. It's a wonderful integration with Zoom. It's just a lot of people don't take the time to really go through the instructions line by line. They look for that easy button. And whenever you look for the easy button, that's when problems can happen.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Can you also talk about the group chat feature? I'm going to need your help on this one, Emily, because I'm not sure that we have a group chat feature unless I'm not thinking correctly. I mean, there's social learning. Is that what we're talking about, social learning?
Yeah, I think social learning is probably the closest thing to a group chat that Lifter has out of the box. And I guess I can share and show a little bit of this. So operating system, show a window, show this window, share. Okay. I'm just stalking through it, like, since Firefox changes how to share your screen once every 6 months. So LifterLMS has a couple of options for groups and community. So groups is what we would commonly refer to as LifterLMS groups. You can change the name to organizations, schools, whatever you want it to be for these groups of people. But there's not a chat feature available with the LifterLMS groups where the people within the group can chat amongst themselves. But you can run a tool called LifterLMS Social Learning alongside LifterLMS groups so that people will have a timeline page where they can select maybe a course that is specific to their group. Like if the commercial real estate investing group was only available, or the course here was only available to a specific group, maybe we copied the course and put the copy in the group so that the only people on this timeline would be members of that group. Then they could chat amongst themselves. So there's a group chat feature in that way, but BB Press, Buddy Press, social learning, there's a few ways to do that.
Yeah, it's another one of those things where you're like, yeah, it's a really cool feature, but you got to moderate it, you got to configure it, you got to get it to do what you want it to do. You have to think about what your end goal is. And I go back to this a lot with the community tools. I think they're cool. I can remember when social learning was out, and the first time I really paid attention to it was 2014 or something like that, right? And I was like, oh, that's so cool. Thing is the website that I put it on had no users that wanted to use it, and it was just like this dead boat anchor thing that never got used. So when I talk to clients, in my little sphere, I'm like, hey, what's your user count? What's your energy in your site? Do you have people that are going to use this? Do you have an active Facebook page that you're going to be dragging an audience from? Those kinds of questions. Because in a lot of situations, when you add features to a website that don't have the right energy yet, when you put stuff in like ahead of schedule or before it's going to be optimized, it can tend to actually weigh the site down and prevent growth rather than spur growth. So I think timing to release certain features is very important. I think and we have this talk a lot, but when you launch a new course as a new course creator, it's really good to do a proof of concept on the course first. Like, do I have a willing audience? Is this a good proof of concept? Are people interested in the subject? And then as people grow and become interested in your subject, then it becomes, is this a potential community? Like, is this a subject where people come in to get educated and leave, or does this become a viable community? And then does it grow from there, right? And I think those are all very honest questions to ask ourselves as we grow each of our products. I put all the tools in on my Power Sport Academy part. I mean, I thought, oh my goodness, I'm famous in power sports. Everyone knows who I am. I'm going to have hundreds of dealers sign up. And that wasn't what happened. What happened was nothing happened. And then I had to go old school. I had to start making phone calls and emails and visiting dealerships and trying to convince people to train their people. And then over time being 5 years, I finally got to a point now where I have some good traffic in the site and I have consistent training happening. But I'll be honest with you, even after a year of good, consistent students coming in, I still wouldn't say that they're a community. They're people that are coming in for the live workshop and for the content, and they want to get the certificate at the end, but they still haven't turned the corner to become a community of people that want to stay connected to each other. And that, I think, comes with time, if it comes at all. So you really, again, based on use case, You really want to examine your use case and make sure that you leverage the available tools very wisely. What else do we
Yeah.
have? I was too busy talking. I didn't see stuff coming in. Oh, does it have to be part of a recorded course? I just want to have it standalone live. Yeah, Julianne, that's the cool thing. If you do the Zoom integration, you literally could have, like, let's say you have static material as lesson 1, and then you want to do a workshop to review lesson 1. For lesson 2, you just put the short code in for that Zoom meeting, and you say, hey, everybody, we're going to do lesson 2 the second Tuesday of the month, or whatever, however you got that scheduled, right? That live workshop. So the only people that can go to the workshop are people that have access to the course. It's another one of the reasons I like using this integration. So people go to their course, they go to their dashboard, they go to their course, they go to lesson 2, and there's the meeting, and it has a countdown. It says the meeting's going to happen in 3 days, 1 day. It's going to happen today. It's going to be in 2 hours. It's going to be now. Click this button, and then boom, they're in the workshop. It works really, really good. I would encourage you to play with that. Like I said, you could make it, it does not have to be part of the recorded course. Like I said earlier, let's say you sell the course as the course, but you want to sell the live workshops as like part of a membership. You could literally make a membership page, drop that short code into that page, and then make it a restricted page that you have to be a member to see that page. And we go over that all the time about like restricting block visibility and stuff like that. So you could literally put the short code in for that Zoom meeting, put it into the membership page, and then restrict that block to only people that have the membership. So anyone that signs in goes to that membership page, which would be in my dashboard, my memberships, right? When they click that my membership page, if they're enrolled, when they go there, there's going to be the short code that says when the next workshop is, with a countdown to that workshop. Shazam! Let's see. I just want to do the recorded courses and live workshops, but not connected. Yeah, perfect. That's what we just described. And then what do you, Emily, I do a lot of one-to-one Zoom coaching and consulting work. Yeah, absolutely. Some people think the integration's a little much. I like it because of the branding I can get with it. So, like I said, use case is the key. Sometimes you could have a membership page with just a link to an external Zoom link. Maybe that's all you need. But if you want to integrate the Zoom into the website, you can do that too. Bada boom. Can you not use Google? Can you help me here? Delphine's asking a question. I'm not sure I understand the question.
Can you not use Google Translate and integrate it into your site? I use Google Translate on my browser because I'm using Chrome. So whenever I visit a website, I can translate it. I don't know. I think there is some Google Translate product for WordPress that you can add to it. I don't usually recommend Google Translate as the first one to pick up, but let's see. Let's see what plugins are available for that. So if I jump to my site.
So I had a customer that had Google Translate, and it worked. It seemed to work fine. They were happy with it, but we took them off of Google Translate and we put them on Translate Press with DeepL, because DeepL has a better translation. But of course, that becomes a subscription product, right? Google Translate, I believe, is free.
Yeah, so it looks like there are some options for Google Translate in WordPress. It's a good question of what's the best way to translate a WordPress website. LifterLMS officially recommends Loco Translate and to have one website per language, right? To have like your English site and your Spanish site and your French site. But that seems kind of hard to manage over time for a lot of users. So I do think that they're, like Kurt said, DeepL is a really concrete translation library that you can integrate into WordPress a few different ways. So that's kind of a leading one for having one site, multiple languages. But I've done it a bunch of different ways for different clients, different use cases, how people will be interacting with the website. Unfortunately, translation's not as easy as we'd like it to be. But yeah, a lot of options out there. Um, so you could try out a few of them. I would just expect to shop around a little bit to figure out which one's going to be the best for you. And be prepared to lay out your exact scenario. Like some people will go a simple setup where they will have a single sales page and a single purchase page, but they might have an English course and a Spanish course, for example, a few languages there. Or even within the course, they could use like tabs on lessons to translate. So if I have like my lesson one here and I edit the lesson, I could have a multilingual website look something like this. So we would have like a tabs block, and then we would have maybe this layout. This would be the English content, Spanish, something like this. And in the English tab, we would have the English video. Beneath that, we would have maybe we'd have our heading above. Um, and then we'd have our text content, and then within the Spanish tab, we would have,
Hola.
Yeah.
Hola, soy Dora.
I don't know how to do the do I have to like press nope. How do I get the upside down? Do I have to just I think like if I hold E it does that, but if I hold I don't know how to do the upside down exclamation point. But yeah, you'd have all your Spanish content in there, and so that's a very easy way to translate where you're not actually using a translation tool, you're using just out of the box tools. But it can be worth it to go for translation tools if you're looking for a deeper level of language integration.
Yeah, Delphine redirected us here. She said, go back to SD's question. And I passed over SD's question. By the way, welcome to the call, Scott Deluzio. Scott Deluzio, I skipped over his question because I saw SCORM in big letters. And I wanted to make sure if we were going to talk about SCORM, we gave it enough space. But yeah, you're kind of answering his question. I want to be able to offer multilingual courses comprised of multiple SCORM packages, one per language. Is there a way to link each of these packages to one course in LifterLMS where the user can select the language and get the correct content? That tabbed content solution is a really good solution. What I have found with many sites that try to offer multilingual courses in one environment is that most of the sites in English, the menus are still in English, the homepage is still in English, but you wanted the learning content to be able to be delivered in the language or the native language of your learner. And so that tabbed content is a really good way to do that. It should be noted, however, Scott, that your website with dynamic content can be driven to a lot higher degree. So you could have, just as an example, I have a client that has coaching that they do on a global basis. They've got something like 18 languages in their website. And so what we did was using WP Fusion and some tags and an automation through Fluent CRM, we said, hey, thank you for signing up for training. Please please go to this link and fill out this form. And when they go to that link to fill out the form, it's going to say, username, email address, just to confirm who they are. And then it says your preferred language. And then when they select that preferred language, it adds a tag based on that and then automatically enrolls them in the courses that match their native language. And so it seems like it seems complicated, like when I describe it, but once it's set up, it works really well, right? So what we did in that situation was it wasn't one course with 4 different languages to choose from. Like I said, in this use case, there's like 18 languages, so 18 tabs would be kind of crazy. And we wanted them to be able to have more of a native language experience. So my client created, this course in English, Romanian, Russian, all these different languages. And so when they select their preferred language, they select their preferred language once, and then the automation we set up auto enrolls them into each course that is their language. Again, we use some automation tools there. We use Fluent CRM to manage the users and the actual enrollment process. And then we used WP Fusion to add the tag based on the form's results.
Yeah, that's another great way to do it. And depending on how deeply you need to integrate that language difference, and especially if you're using something like SCORM, you'll be in the semi-complicated territory, so WP Fusion is a great solution.
Yeah, it's it all drives back to use case. Like, what's the scope? You know, if you've got 2 languages or 3 languages and you're in an environment where most people, pardon me, most people are functionally literate in English, the tab solution works wonderfully. I can remember when I worked for Ducati and was in charge of the training for North America at Ducati. When I went to Italy for like the international gathering of learning experts, it really made you feel stupid as an American to go over there, right? Like, my primary language is English, and I know a little bit of Spanish, and I know a little bit of Italian. But then I was in a room with people that were completely fluent in like 5 or 6 different languages. And like, for people that live in Switzerland, it's not unusual for people in Switzerland to speak 5 languages. So for them to go to a website that is primarily English, but they can go to a piece of SCORM content that is in their native tongue, they're happy. Like, that's the experience they wanted. So if that's your work experience, the tab thing is a great solution. For the SCORM stuff, I wanted to make sure, Scott, you understood that, you know, we can run SCORM in the LifterLMS framework. I typically recommend that people use Grassblade, and if you need reporting to come off of the SCORM activities and actions, then you're going to want the Grassblade LRS as well. And then that Grassblade LRS does the syncing with LifterLMS reporting, and then the LMS works exactly as you would expect. So again, if you drive back to LifterLMS and you go to the search box and you just type in SCORM, it'll take you right to some blog content that we have about implementing SCORM in your website. There's multiple ways to put SCORM in a WordPress website. I don't want you to think that Grassblade's the only one. But in my experience, especially if I'm looking for something consistent for corporate use, I found that Grassblade is the most consistent and cost-effective way to do it. Got an interesting one here. Have you ever used Basecamp before, Emily?
I've used it one time. What's the use case here alongside the course, which was excellent and very popular? It would be great to have something like that within the course. So it's like kind of project management. It's like Trello. It's like Asana.
Yeah.
Notion. It's
I used Basecamp with BRP and I hated it.
Yeah, me too.
It drove me nuts.
Yeah. I'm not big into I'm not really big into the third-party project management system softwares. My preferred method of working directly is in like Zoom meetings and stuff like that. I don't know. They're really good for working with like a large number of people and having the visibility across multiple projects. And so I think it's definitely a valuable tool to integrate if it works for your team. I just struggle with it personally.
Basecamp is graphical, right? I think some people like it because it almost seems gamified. Mm-hmm. But this is going to be another one of those things where I'm like, okay, do you want to have control over your product or project, or do you want to be subject to the whims and fancies of someone that you're renting space from in a SaaS platform? There's a lot of tools inside WordPress. So if you were using Basecamp as like a project management tool, there's project management directly available in WordPress. Mm-hmm. In fact, if you didn't have a CRM yet and you were open to using a CRM, Groundhog has a lot of those kinds of tools built into Groundhog that has a direct integration with LifterLMS. So there's a lot of things that can really be adapted or work well to replace something that you might be paying for with a SaaS. SaaS platforms, they all have their place. I would be a hypocrite if I didn't just tell you honestly, to run my agency, when I'm doing invoicing and project management and time recording, and file storage for clients, all of those things, all of that for Mañana No Mas runs through a SaaS platform. So I'm not telling you that I don't use any tools outside of WordPress. I absolutely do. I just, if I'm developing a whole package to do my e-learning in a website, and then also giving my client another, sign on into some other foreign website for some other purpose, sometimes I find the user experience can be better if all of that is integrated into one process, one platform. And there's a lot of tools out there, so there's a lot of choices.
Yeah, and we've been talking about Fluent CRM a lot. So there's Fluent Boards is one of their products that does this kind of a feature. So
Fluent Boards is pretty dang new and pretty capable, and they keep updating their stuff. So they've been using their Fluent Community plugin just got, I don't want to say an overhaul, that would be the wrong term, but it's been updated quite a bit in a really quick amount of time. I was on the beta program with the Fluent Community platform. I used it in one of my sites just to kind of get an orientation to how it would work. But they've really updated it. There's I think they call it community templates now or something like that. But now you can take that Fluent Community tool and you can like surround it with sidebars and headers and footers and all of that. And it works really, really well. So Stuart here says that he was using it as a chat room for students, as I'm a teacher rather than a trainer, and part of the hidden curriculum of teaching is to develop conversation between students so they can learn from each other as well as from me. Yeah, that's kind of like that whole adult-centered learning process, right? So if you're really propagating that adult-centered learning and that peer-to-peer training, the chat room for students, Stuart, I really encourage you, if you haven't looked already, look at LifterLMS's social learning, because that social learning tool that we discussed earlier today, that creates a discussion group for each membership and course that the student's in. So it's not just like an open Facebook page where everybody talks willy-nilly about whatever. It kind of keeps things more organized and focused. Any thoughts on that, Emily?
I think there are a lot of great solutions. My recommendation would be not to integrate one of them too deeply until you know that the community is really going to use it, because different communities will adopt different social tools. So if you can do a minimum viable like social product and see like, can you get comments going on lessons, and if you can get engagements in the comments on lessons, then maybe you could start like a forum for questions and link to it there, just step by step. Yeah,
that's true. You went right to the absolute basic, right? And that's that we can activate comments on memberships and lessons and all that. And that's WordPress core right out of the box, right? And so if people start using the comment section, then you go, oh, this is working. Let's like make them a discussion page. So let's use social learning for that. Then if that works and you go, oh, this is awesome, I just want to take it up a level, then maybe you look at Fluent Community or Buddy Boss or something like that. Yeah, Julianne's all in now, right? Julianne's like, hey, I went from live workshops to I want this really cool thing too. Stuart, I like this idea. I'm also a college writing teacher, and it would be great to have a place for students to talk to each other outside of class. Nice. Here we go. One of the usual features of Basecamp is that it sends out an email to students every day, unless they switch that off. Yeah, I switched mine off immediately. I hated that. But some people need that inspiration. And if you had a CRM in your website, you could program your CRM to do an automated email based on content every day as well. You could do a recap email that would go out. So that would still work. Again, I'm always looking for ways to like tie those features into the one property instead of having students have to sign into multiple properties. So that's kind of one of my driving forces. This has been a pretty good chat today. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, last week I was in Vegas, so today I'm back. And it's snowy. It's see how bright that is out there?
Wow.
I was a super nice guy. I shoveled the driveway for 2 of my neighbors.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm leaving the snowy states and coming out to a state where I don't have to shovel driveways. So very
Does it not snow in Seattle?
It doesn't, not like in somewhere like Minnesota or Kansas.
Oh yeah, Minnesota was crazy.
Yeah. It's not like that. It does snow though, but it doesn't like stick around the way it does there.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you continue to like it out there.
Yeah, and I'm moving out to Seattle. I've been here for a year, and I'm like ready to settle here, sell the house, buy a new house here, and kind of have this be my home base.
Well, you've already got a really iconic piece of furniture there. I like your new chair.
Thank you. I'll have to steal it. This is not my house.
Like, I really like that new chair. All right. Well, we're kind of wrapping some things up here, folks. It is always great to come and do these live sessions, these Ask Us Anything calls. As you've seen, pretty much anything's on the table. We've even had people ask us what our favorite Star Wars character is in the past, because that's just, the nature of how we work. If we go back to the banners that I can put down at the bottom, I do want to just give this a shout out a second time in the call. And that is, if you are watching this or the replay and there's something on the LifterLMS menu that you're like, man, I gotta have it. You can get a coupon for 55% off. You can go to lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. lifterlms.com/AMA-gift. I know we mentioned this earlier in the show, Emily, but if someone wants to get in touch with you, what's your preferred way to get in contact?
I would recommend going to wpcourseguide.com or looking up Magic Emily Middleton on Google.
Nice. And then for me, it is anything Mañana No Mas online. Mañana No Mas goes back to me just about everywhere. And then if you just want to connect on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn quite a bit. So I'm the only Kurt Von Onen there. And when you look up Kurt Von Onen, you got the right one, because I'm the only one there. I'm there almost every day. I check out LinkedIn almost every day. It's a consistent for me. Yeah, Delphine's hooked on your cat. She's like, I like your cat. Nice. Well, I think that kind of wraps us up today. We will see you next Thursday for another Ask Us Anything call. If you have the Universe or the Infinity Bundle, we welcome you to come to the office hours that we do an hour from now. So I think that wraps us up. I'll see you in a little bit.
See you.